Hey guys, it's Sanosi and welcome to 2024. Hopefully we'll have a really good year and some good fights to go with it. So I'm sure you guys have already seen the announcement of Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler for International Fight Week and not UFC 300. I don't want to put a pat on my back and all, but I kind of predicted he wasn't going to be at UFC 300 because he's too greedy with pay-per-view points. But that's not the point we're getting at today. The point we're getting at today is the announcement that McGregor put the fight at 185 pounds. Now I know you're thinking, you're scratching your head, you're thinking, why such a heavy weight class? Well, if you've seen his pictures in the last year, you've realized the man has packed on some muscle in pounds. Whether it's PED usage, steroids, actual conditioning, I can't tell you honestly. What I can tell you, however, is I can see this being good and bad for him. Now the obvious bad for him is, well, you're not going to have quite the advantages you've had in the lower weight classes. I can hear the people shouting, weight bully. You're correct. He has definitely taken advantage of that when he was the midget slayer at featherweight. And lightweight, he was a little bit more properly built up for that. But the point I want to kind of get to is some of the good reasons why you could see him going for this right now in his career. Now, first things first. If he's not going for a championship belt or he's giving up on those aspirations, it doesn't harm him at all. Middleweight is probably a better choice for him for a short-term career choice. Secondly, if you look at the welterweight division, just look at everyone on the listings there. You have, not counting Leon Edwards, you you technically count him, it's Kamaru Usman still on there. He's fallen off, but Kobe Covington would still probably give him problems on the ground. You got Bilal Muhammad, I know, cringe is thinking of his name. You got Shavkat Rakhmonov, you have Gilbert Burns, and honestly, you just keep going down the list, you realize how grapple heavy the division is as a whole, and you realize McGregor would not be able to handle that. Now, if you look at the middleweight division and all the rankings down, there are some up-and-comers there that are going to become some big problems in the future that have the grappling base to mess up people like McGregor, but in terms of size and everything, they're not too horrifying. You only have a few outliers out there. So if you want to look at the chart, if you see here, bear with me. Okay, so if you see the chart right here, the average middleweight, they're usually like around 7.3, so that's usually like around, if I remember correctly, like about 6'1", 6 foot. So it's about average right there. Now the reach is around 75.2. Now the problem is McGregor is like around 74 or so you are looking at a disadvantage in reach, something that he has maximized on in the past. And speaking of maximize, his style has been something that has dynamically changed in the last couple of years. This is a man that used to have pressuring kicks. He used to manage his range correctly to get the good strikes in there. He had unrelenting pressure, and his counter left hook, which I think he relies on more now than ever, was something he did definitely use. Now you see McGregor kind of going for a more traditional boxing stance. He does rely on his really good skills in the stand-up. He has that power that still is transferred pretty well. He has those vicious shoulder strikes in the clinch. The man's a little bit more orthodox of a striker now, so he's not as dynamic. I could possibly blame that on his movement coach that was gone, that helped him along the way. Injuries, age, gluttony with drugs, and whatever things you want to claim. But the point I want to get to is, it's not necessarily a bad move for him to go to 185, and this is the reasons why. If you want to look at height and stuff, you got people like Kelvin Gastelum, who's 5'9" as well, kind of stocky but a little different. You got people like Chris Curtis, who's around 5'10". You got Robert Whittaker at 5'11", I think it was 6 foot. They haven't measured it either, or it's tricky to tell. You got people like Andre Munoz, who are much bigger than that. But if you look at the size, right, there are a couple of people that are under the 6 foot range. 6'1" seems to be the average. People like Israel Adesanya, outlier at 6'4", but most of the people usually around 6 to 6'1", and some people scale to around 5'10" to 5'11". So McGregor would be smaller here. Now the parts where I think he transfers pretty well in is his power could be maximized to an extent we haven't seen yet, which could be advantageous for him. And another factor at all, that his striking skills I think are good enough that he could actually scale up there pretty quickly. Now, the thing that I think why they would actually take advantage of the idea of him in the division is, well, it's a pretty simple one. The people in this division are people you can easily sell fights for, that he can make money off of, just as much as any other fight. And he is the cash cow McGregor, after all. Now, say he gets a quick scale, beats a couple of people and goes up, you could either get him killed by Chimaev, which we know they ain't going to do that. But here's 2 to 3 people I could see them trying to put him against for sales. Well, yeah, 3 to 4. Paulo Costa is a really underrated person on this list, I put, but considering his meme game and his internet presence, you could put those 2 together and it'd be a nice strike fest. Another person on the list, even though I don't know how I'd feel about it, Robert Whittaker. You got champ versus past champ. Well, past champ versus past champ. You get the point, though. Those 2 can offer a really good fight, and we'd have an exciting bout for it. Now, when we get to really exciting things, especially for pressers and stuff, we have people like Dricus du Plessis. I think those 2 could make that an entertainment bout. But the ones I'm really looking at, the 2 biggest ones I'm looking at this list is Israel Adesanya and the current champion we have, Sean Strickland. Now, Izzy, world-class kickboxer. McGregor, I don't think he's world-class, but I think he's pretty high scale. You put those 2 up in a bout, you could sell tickets even without a championship belt on the line, and you know those 2 would be perfect for that. Sean Strickland, however, whereas there's a lot of arguments why to do that, the personalities of both of these fighters alone would sell tickets. I can tell you that right now. It would be, I mean, if you think du Plessis versus Strickland is chaos right now, imagine if you put McGregor in the bout for that. Now, I just want to emphasize something. This is the idea that he beats Chandler and he stays at middleweight for whatever reason. I think his power transfers, I think he is smaller, so I don't think he'll be handling this pretty well. Unfortunately, like I said, if you look at welterweight, he gets destroyed by a lot of people in that division a lot more. I think welterweight's the most more skilled than middleweights where we have right now. And I think a lot of them are starting to age out like Jared Cannonier. So we do have a lot of problems right there. But if in terms of short term, I think we could actually work something out for them. But you know what? I know it's a controversial take. I don't think it's the best take I have in the world. I think it's a little of a hot take. But I think right now, if we look at how things are going, Conor McGregor as a lightweight, he gets creamed. Conor McGregor as a welterweight, he gets creamed even more because, again, the grapple-heavy people there will decimate him and take advantage of everything with those skill sets. Middleweight, I don't see middleweight as as much of a skilled division. When you start going up those higher weight classes, you start noticing a little bit more, how to put it, filler for some of the people in your rankings that don't belong there. And I think Conor McGregor, if he gets a win or 2, could elevate himself and give him at least a couple of fights. But you gotta remember this. Conor McGregor is not your typical athlete. He is someone who is outside of the rankings. He is a man who can produce his own pay-per-views, his own cash flow, his own hype. He is the money belt, basically. Whereas you got the BMF title, he is the money champion. You get a McGregor fight, you get paid more. That will be a different topic for a different time, but for now, I just wanted to kind of put it out there as an idea. So if you're excited to see it, let me know. If you think it's a bad idea, feel free to roast me. I know it's not the best take in the world. But anyway, I just wanted to put this quick video out there. Like I said, I hope you guys have a nice new year, and hopefully in 2024, you'll see more content coming from me. So I'll see you guys around. Peace!